2018 was probably the most millennial year I've ever lived in, and I don't even know what that means. 2018, like many years before, it started off great. We got Detroit Become Human. We had God of War, and those were just to kind of line up the first half of the year. And then during E3, we saw some promises of a great second half, and then we got Spider-Man. Spider-Man's fucking baller. And then Red Dead Redemption 2, still fucking riding off the chains. It's great. And then we got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Some great games lining up the competition this year. But it was kind of marred by two rather large debacles. Mainly Blizzard Entertainment turning from hero to villain, and Fallout 76 being a big old pile of garbage, and we were told that it was going to be great. Not to mention that now Bethesda is also falling from graces at an alarming rate. So, 2018, let's take it bit by bit before we just start talking about the bad. 2018 actually kicked off pretty good. I'm looking at a list on Shack News right now because it's really hard to remember what games came out what month. There were games Monster Hunter World, Dragon Ball FighterZ, or FighterZ, however you want to pronounce it. Super Meat Boy came to the Switch. We had The Escapist 2 on the Switch. We had, what's the other one? Celeste. Celeste of all games came out almost a year ago, and that game's fucking awesome. But yeah, January made the year seem like it was going to be one for the history books, and in a way, it was. While February had a shit ton of releases according to Shack News, I'm just scrolling down the list here right now, the only really big one was Shadow of Colossus's remaster, which is fantastic. Even I bought it on its release day. Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favorite games, top 5 of all time. If you've never played it, you have to. You absolutely have to. That's a snack daddy guarantee, or your snack pack back. In March, it was still all about the games. Far Cry 5 was out. Detective Pikachu was out, which was a really weird one. Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, so the deluxe edition, or whatever you want to call it. And Warhammer Vermintide 2 came out, which took over Twitch for like a hot minute. Not long, but it was a hot minute. I saw a lot of my favorite streamers, Kaif, Carnage. I saw people like them playing it for about a week or so. It was decent. So March kicked off it ended the first quarter actually of 2018. So we're 25% of the way through. There's some notable games, you know, some stuff to beat your chest with. But in April, that's where my favorite game of the year came in. In April, we had God of War finally hit store shelves and digital libraries across the world, and what a goddamn masterpiece that game was. Let us not forget how great that game was, because it won Game of the Year, rightfully so. Normally I don't agree with who wins Game of the Year, but God of War, as someone who didn't like the first 3, I played that game through twice. It was phenomenal. You know, best game of 2018 by far. And that wasn't the only big game to come out in April. We also had Frostpunk, an indie game, but still, a lot of people look forward to it, and I know a lot of people that still play it. Just had a big DLC drop not too long ago. And then South Park Fractured Butthole, which, I don't know why I just realized the fractured butthole joke. I'm smart, don't mind me. Yeah, that was April. It was great. There were 3 great games that come out in the span of a month. It was great. PAX East even happened too, which you should check out my PAX East coverage video, or not, that was like 8 months ago. So dealer's choice on that one. But over to May. So May is where things are still good, but there's starting to be some shit thrown in. Don't get me wrong, we skipped past Metal Gear Survive. We'll put that into the final tally of shit later. Great things that came in May though, you know. Detroit Become Human. It was phenomenal. So many choices and endings and reasons to play over and over and over again. And Brian Deckard, who voices Connor, actually streams now, like full-time, I think. He does it a lot, so you should check him out. I'm not gonna put a link in the description down below because I'll forget, but yeah, check him out. But this is where shit starts to get a little like shady. We had Conan Exiles, which was plagued with, you know, them taking off the non-PvP servers, I believe it was, or the, maybe sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't servers, that's what it was. And then just took that away so people could destroy your shit whenever they wanted. I know as from Heels versus Babyface was very upset about that. Destiny 2 Warmind, very underwhelming expansion. I actually stopped playing Destiny before that point. I came back for Forsaken though, so don't worry. State of Decay 2, once again, riddled with bugs. And this is where things start to kind of go from, hey, this year's going to be fucking awesome, to, alright, now we're starting to see all the games that people felt they had to rush out because the year was starting to, the first half of the year was starting to be done. So, let's look at June. So, in June, we had Hollow Knight come to Nintendo Switch, score. We had Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, score. That one came on PC. Where's my Spyro for PC? That's all I wanted, was Spyro for the PC. So I wouldn't have to do the annoyances to get my PS4 all hooked up. Where's my Spyro on PC? Why can Crash be there, but no Spyro? And then we had Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. Game was okay. I didn't play all of it. I didn't care for it, but I know a lot of people did, and I did watch playthroughs. Game just wasn't for me. And then you had Fallout Shelter. If you needed a reason to play Fallout Shelter on your PlayStation 4 or your Nintendo Switch, damn, June was your month. But if you think June was great, let's talk about July. July and August were boring, aside from remasters and a couple indie titles sprinkled throughout. There's nothing. So let's just go to September. In September, we had Spider-Man finally hit. I know I was excited after seeing the trailer in E3. And it did not disappoint. That game was great. It had a lot of fun, a lot of variety, a lot of unlockables. And even if the water was changed a little bit, I don't know why people were freaking out about that. It was a solid game, and you should pick it up if you haven't already. In October, we had, obviously, Red Dead Redemption 2, which was the greatest game to come out that month because Call of Duty 4, while I write for an esports organization that has a team on it, I do not like it. I think it's a poor game. I think Call of Duty needs to stop focusing on quantity. I hate yearly release titles. I do. Make a quality product. Stop pumping one out every year and just make a different game that has the same core values, that builds upon the franchise in some meaningful way. Call of Duty stopped being good at Modern Warfare 2. Don't at me, bro, if kids still say that, I don't know. But Red Dead Redemption 2 was the best thing that happened in October. November was kind of the beginning of the end. It's where the year stopped being about gaming and started being about gaming debacles. And it all happened at BlizzCon. Not all happened, but it started at BlizzCon. There were so many ways I can bring this up. BlizzCon was a shit show. For the majority, it was fine. Until Diablo Immortal kinda said, hey, don't you guys have phones? And everything kind of came out of the woodwork and everyone was drawing lines in the sand. And here's what I mean by that. When Red Shirt Guy, or I'm going to call him Hell Shirt Guy because Red Shirt Guy is a World of Warcraft thing. When Hell Shirt Guy asked the question, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke? There were a lot of gaming journalists telling this dude that he was rude, and not just journalists either. I just saw articles on it, which astounded me. There were fans, you know, people I know, journalists, content creators, all calling this guy an asshole, being rude, entitled. No, he was being witty as fuck, and I support that man 110%. The Blizzard Immortal was the writing on the wall that some people knew were coming. The writing on the wall has always been there for the past year or so. But this was the first one where Blizzard pointed at it and said, look, there is writing on the wall. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at the history, okay? Overwatch doesn't get a lot of exciting content. World of Warcraft just had the shittiest expansion drop, which I really liked at the beginning. I thought it was the best intro expansion that I had ever done. Questing-wise, leveling in an expansion. That's naturally going to get better, but the overall expansion experience at endgame was shit. And then Hearthstone, another expansion? And now Heroes of the Storm, it's not going to be a thing anymore. It's on the back burner. We just recently found out. When's the last cool thing you heard happening of StarCraft 2? Tell me. I'm genuinely curious. What's the last cool thing to have happened with that game? And that's the problem. The writing on the wall is Blizzard is starting to worry more about new things than maintaining their old IPs. So when we saw Diablo Immortal, I was pissed. I was at work, and I even said, what the fuck? When I saw that trailer, my boss looked at me. It was funny. And the internet was upset. And game journalists and fans alike, not fans, but, apologists and content creators, and I guess fans who were on the different side of the proverbial aisle, were saying that people were entitled. It's okay to sound off your dissatisfaction with something. In fact, I despise people who say that it is rude or impolite to show you are dissatisfied. And this is where the debate about gaming toxicity really took place. Because people were saying this is a toxic fan base. Well, no, it's a fan base that has waited 4.5 years, for something new in their favorite gaming franchise. And it's a game that's being built not by Blizzard. Blizzard doesn't even care about them enough to make the game for them. They bring it to a Chinese developer who's notorious for milking money out of their customer base, like it's a golden goose scenario. And now we even have screenshots of them telling Blizzard how to monetize the game and how to make money off of it. And we really saw Activision kind of flex their influence. And the outrage did spark some stock fluctuations. Blizzard was losing money. Stock was losing value. Now, the market itself has not been great, but Activision Blizzard dropped at a alarming rate compared to other tech companies, if you look out there. So just keep that in mind. When you say there's a toxic fan base, or that bitching online doesn't matter, well, tell that to Activision Blizzard stock prices. And then also in November. November was just a bad month, man. It's like a 5-minute clip. Fallout 76 launched. And that was a clusterfuck. I actually demanded a refund after my second beta playthrough from Bethesda. Because that game was not the game we were promised. That was the game no one asked for. That game was an unstable pile of garbage lit on fire up a hooker's ass crack. I don't know what that means, but you get the idea. It was just all sorts of bad and wrong and debauchery. And then it became surrounded by scandal. The nylon bags. God forbid nylon bags. That was its own brand of false advertising. If you have a picture of something on your collector's edition, that's what it has to be. When you say this is what you get when you buy the collector's edition, the picture has to be an actual representation. It cannot be a concept. You cannot say, hey, you get a cool bag with a picture of this nice canvas bag and it be a nylon bag. No, it has to be a accurate representation of the actual product, not a representation of the concept of what you want to give the customer. It just boggles my mind. It's 101. I don't know what happened to Bethesda in that moment. I'm not sure if they were like, oh guys, we have such a good reputation, let's see what we can get away with. I don't know. Honestly, it just baffles me. But it seems to be that they're trying to make good on what they're doing. So that's great. And then the good times just stop because December's just filled with one idiotic scandal of a rapper who's completely irrelevant now. Obviously, I'm talking about Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy came out with his consoles. I think it's just asinine because he took to Twitter after every YouTuber who commentates on it, or commentated on it, started freaking out at him. And he was playing the race card, he was saying they were stupid and uneducated, and they all brought up the same very valid point. Soulja Boy did not have licensing for those ROMs that were in those systems, and Nintendo was going to sue his ass. And a lot of people ordered those consoles and never got their product. So I wonder what's gonna happen to all that money, because it has to be returned. I know, like, Review Tech USA, Rich, never got his product. Spawn Tech never got his product. iDubbbz, no, not iDubbbz, John never got his product. God bless John. So happy he's back. Anyway, that's 2018 in a nutshell, really. It started off with some good games, and then right around the middle of the year, it started to turn into just another dry spell of a period. It happens in the middle of the year. And then holiday season, we got some pretty dope games, and then a lot of dumb fucking decisions. So here's the takeaway. Activision Blizzard is no longer going to be who they were. It's much more Activision now than it is Blizzard. You're going to see the Activision treatment happen a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if they start trying to crank out WoW expansions yearly. I know a couple years ago they said they weren't going to try for that anymore. I think they're going to again, just because, why not? It's money. It's an extra $50 a year. Let's do it, guys. The expansion price would probably go up to $60, full-fledged game price. I have nothing to back that up, but fuck Activision. They ruined Destiny. I know they gave Destiny life too, but they ruined Destiny with the monetization practices. I know Blizzard just got new in-store pets, and a lot of articles are coming out. The Quartering did great videos on Activision Blizzard. Go check them out. I'm doing a piss poor job of explaining. But Activision Blizzard is more Activision than Blizzard now, even though they're technically a partnership and there was no liquidation or acquisition. But yeah, the end of 2018 was a shit show. So 2019, it's up to you. Make it good. Make it better. Be better. This is Zach from Snack Daddy Gaming. See you all next year. And be safe.